Now, all right, all right. All righty, guys. Welcome to the Deadman Horror Show. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. And with us here tonight is Emir. Let's see if I can say her name here right. Emir Skalonja. Skalonja. Like that, right?
Skalonja, close.
Skalonja.
That was good. That's a good try. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get that better next time, hopefully. Skalonja. Skalonja. Sounds nice.
Sounds
Sounds like a perfume.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cologne. Right? You hear it, right?
I'll think about it maybe in the future. Side project.
Skalonja.
Cologne.
Yeah. So all right, we got a promo here. I got a promo I need to read. This is very serious stuff. Okay. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Drayton Sawyer's Chainsaw Chili. Okay. The chili is the best of the land. They have the classic chili, which is everyone's favorite. They even have different flavors. They have mango habanero, and they have the new white bean and lime with all the same tasty meat. Now, Emir, do you like chili?
I love chili.
You love chili. Well, you're going to love this. People have been sitting in rave reviews. They love the meat. They're like, what is the deal here? Because it's so tasty. And I've reached out to Drayton Sawyer, and he told me that the secret is all in the meat. It's all in the meat there. So go ahead and go. The link is going to be in the description box below, and you can just order yourself a copy. Just use DHS 2022 as a promo code, and you'll get 10% off. There you go. All right. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and, well, Emir, who is your daddy and what does he do? Wait, I mean, who are you and what do you do? I'm sorry.
So, my name is Emir Skalonja, and I am a filmmaker, musician, but most importantly, I'm a dad and a husband.
Okay.
So, make horror films, which, as with my surroundings, like all of my skulls and guitars and everything is kind of like on every corner of the room here, because this is our home office. But I'm like the least metal looking person you're gonna see. But I make low budget or micro budget, no budget, a lot of times horror films, ranging anything from zombies, apocalypse, over ambitious porn stars, serial killers, stuff like that. Anywhere from like I said, $0 on a budget to like a couple of $1,000s. So, which for me is considered high budget. Like a couple of hundred, a couple $1,000s. Also make music, black metal. People usually say it's like, oh, it's Norwegian black metal, but there's a lot of black metal is pretty broad, unlike some people may think. But there's a Swedish black metal, there's Finnish black metal, Norwegian black metal. I mean, like it's in all countries.
But it sounds like it's coming from
Europe.
It sounds like it's coming from one area, though.
Well, I mean, it started in Scandinavia. So what Italy is to pizza, Norway, Sweden are to black metal. But
yeah, I thought that was a thing. I thought it was a required thing that you have to be from Scandinavia somehow in order to be in a black metal band, right?
So for purists, yeah, it's like it has to be like super raw, super lo-fi. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Dark Throne. They're one of the pioneers of black metal, late 80s, early 90s, in Norway. That's like
I think I know one black metal band. And the black metal band I know, they might not even be considered black metal anymore because some of their tracks are a little too melodic, maybe. Dimmu Borgir, are they still black metal? Are they black metal?
No, they are black metal. They're so not to get into like subdivisions and stuff because I don't like that, but they're black metal. They're considered a symphonic black metal because of all of the choirs and strings and quartets and stuff.
Oh, I love that stuff.
But no, yeah, they released an album in 2018. They're releasing another one next year. So,
And that's good.
but
That's
yeah,
good.
I make extremely dark nihilistic music and extremely dark and nihilistic horror movies.
And that's why you're here. That's why you're here, man.
That's right.
Because you have a passion for horror. You're a horror. You are a horror fan, and you're also a creative mind
Yep.
in the horror space there. So when you say micro budget, low budget horror movies, do you mean like backyard projects? And I say that, I'm not trying to be mean, but I say that as somebody who's also had a few backyard projects.
Right.
It's behind me. You can't even see. It's buried behind all that stuff called Zombie Hunter. It's a web series actually on this channel, and all this stuff was filmed.
That sounds
much
awesome though, Zombie Hunter. Like I would watch anything that sounds like Zombie Hunter.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a redneck running around. It's kind of like, it looks like a hunting channel thing. The film quality looks like it's from a hunting channel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but so yeah, are these filmed in a backyard? Like what's going on?
No. So, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I have some fairly high end movies that I've made, in my life over the last 12 years. A lot of them with my wife's help. That's how we bonded when we first started seeing each other. She was a huge horror fan, and I'm a huge horror fan, so it's like a perfect union. But no, I mean, I have movies like, before the show we talked about Casting Couch Slaughter series, about the overambitious porn stars, and the drill bit wielding serial killer who infiltrates their casting couch interviews and stuff.
Oh, that sounds
those
crazy.
are all.
Yeah, I think I've seen that trailer. Trailer of that. That looked really, really cool. That was the one where you guys were taking bumps of coke.
Correct. See, those are all done like in people's like apartments. We did have a professional like soundstage studio for the second
cool.
film that we did a couple of scenes in. But then, like, we'll go, to some of like my bigger serious movies, like Veronica, Anthropocene, and Gravis Terrae. Like, we'll special effects. We'll do, the CGI. Like, we'll do like nature trailer houses, and like actual locations where we have to like pay and stuff like to go. But and the best the best advice I can give to any like aspiring like filmmaker and stuff, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So if you need to like use a location and stuff, until the cops show up, you're like, oh, I really didn't know I had to film, I couldn't film here, so sorry, we'll pack up or we'll leave. That's like the best advice I can give. I've utilized that one many times.
You just kind of use what you can while you can.
It's guerrilla. It's guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, dude, I like that. I respect that. So when I see your stuff, I see that, and it seems like a lot of fun. That you have a lot of fun doing it. And it sounds great that you have different locations you can use, that you're able to use other people's apartments. I'm guessing like other crew or people that are cast or people that you trust.
Oh yeah. Instead of like people who are like, oh yeah, like we'll just use my mom's house, or like use my yeah.
Yeah, it is very.
But it's
very
I mean and that's like when you said like lots of fun. That's what I think a lot of people really don't. I think everybody has like this thing in their mind, like it's to be a star, to be a rock star, to be like a multi-million-dollar filmmaker, to be like everybody wants to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
So like that fun really gets lost in translation somewhere here, because everybody like wants like these sets with like 15 PAs and like 30 people who do like 30 different odd jobs, and nobody knows anybody's name and stuff. I mean, like I have two friends, and we kind of do everything together. We write, we direct, we produce. My friend Crystal, she does all of special effects like from scratch, like from kitchen items that like you wouldn't even like think of using, like to do blood and to do
cool.
like effects and stuff. It's but then like we get other people, to help us along in the process. But I've been on sets, like to help out other people where they have like, like five girls and guys like carrying walkie talkies, and the one says something to, the other, and like like it's a chain. I'm like, what are all of these people doing? They're just like sitting on their asses, just because you have more people on the set doesn't mean like you look any more professional.
Right. Right.
Like just because you have like 15 guitars, like doesn't mean like your song's gonna sound good. It's
Right.
just like people always have the thing like more is better. Like if I have like 18 walkie-talkies on my set, it's not. So people like just like get lost in this whole like Hollywood thing. It's like I wanna look legit, I wanna look
Mhm.
legit. And it's just so it's really sad.
Okay. Now you have a lot of great titles we could dig into here. First, though, how did you get involved in creating these micro, low budget horror films? And guys, let me just say, one of the titles, I don't know if I think he said it already, but Confessions of a Homicidal Prostitute
Yep.
Demonatrix. That's what sort of movies we're
Yep.
talking about. Okay. Are the casting couch slaughter, where like literally in the trailer they're doing bumps of cocaine? Well, I'm sure it's all prop coke. I'm sure it's just, what was it, with powder
Yep.
sugar?
No, it's prop.
Yeah. Um. So, like, how did you get started in doing that? Not the coke,
Um,
but
so,
the
so yeah. So I mean, I was raised, on film, like as far as I can remember. Like I remember like my first movie I watched with my father was T2 Judgment Day,
oh,
um,
cool.
and Rocky. I must have been like 4 years old. Um, and like since then, I honestly, I really, it's been always like movies, movies, movies. It was like a good, it was like a feel good thing,
Hmm.
after whatever it is that happened in your day, you come home, like you put on a movie, and it's been kind of with me like my whole life. So my father introduced me to a lot of great movies, and a lot of westerns that I still watch, alone or with my dad, occasionally. But yeah, it's been kind of like brought on to me by my father, and it kind of stuck with me. And then my high school is pretty cool. We had a pretty cool English teacher who worked on like a bunch of different random like sets as like assistant producer, or I like not a like I can't think of the word, like not a, like actual like movie producer, but like the assistant producers that kind of like drive everybody around like the lot, they kind of like keep schedules and stuff.
Okay.
um, so she kind of like worked on a bunch of different sets in Hollywood, and like when she became a teacher at our high school, she kind of like brought all of that with her. So the high school allowed her to do a film elective where like we would like watch movies, analyze them, and our final project was to make a movie. Which is awesome. I mean, like you're doing this with a bunch of like 16, 17-year olds,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I wrote a movie, because right at the time I was infatuated. Like one of my favorite movies was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Hey, yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
know
film.
if you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that film.
Okay, all right. So, so I wrote a movie, and like I told my friend, I'm like, I want to make a movie that's like literally shot to shot remake of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And he was like, "Yeah, but we got to do something different." I'm like, "All right, we're gonna make a movie," and I was like, "We're gonna call it Deuces Wild and Follow the Queen," which is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels,
Yeah.
like made
Yeah.
by a bunch of high school kids. So we wrote a movie about like a couple of lame, uh, kind of like hired guns. I had a British accent for whatever reason in the movie, and
It just sounds cool.
the guy
Yeah.
that. Huh?
British accents, they just sound cool.
You have to. So it's a movie about a bunch of like two hired guns that are hired to retrieve like this like we never really know what's in the bag, but it's implied that it's cash. and the bag just literally goes through so many hands in the movie because everybody's like after the bag. And then like we had like Academy Awards like in auditorium and whatever.
Okay.
And we won for like the best screenplay, and
Oh,
I'm
that's kind of
like,
nice. That's cool.
hell yeah, I'm gonna cherish this for the rest of my life. I'm like, I don't even know like where it is. So
That's cool, man. That's cool how you get your
and then
first taste of making movies that way. That's cool.
yeah. And then like, it kind of like when it kind of transferred into like my college days, and it didn't fare well for me in college because the university that I went to, it was all about like experimental filmmaking. It was all about, like abstract and obscure images. Oh, yeah, do you see how he masturbated like on that table upside down while reading the paper
What?
and smoking a cigarette? That really symbolizes, the oppression of the war of Iraq. And I'm like, yeah, this is really not for me. Like I don't do this type of
You would have to
stuff.
do a lot of
So that was
drugs. Wait, do you do a lot of drugs?
I don't.
Well, this is the show
I
for
don't
you
do any
because tonight's episode is about horror monsters on drugs. We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but like, okay, they must have been on a lot of drugs though to look
I'm
into
telling you,
that.
man, everybody at University at Buffalo in film department, except for like a couple people that I knew, like from some class that I did enjoy, is on drugs. But it was all like was okay. You're making a short film on a Super 8 to make a statement. Cool. Like I get it. I have nothing wrong against statements, but it's like it's not what I'm going for. Like this is not my cup of tea, man. Like I want to make a movie about people getting chased through the woods
Mhm.
with, like with a knife, with a hatchet, people like being mowed down and,
Mhm.
like, crime families and, crime bosses
Yeah.
and, intimidation, like that type of stuff. Not, but, uh, yeah, like the only good thing that came out of my like film, at my university was I got in touch with, I don't know if you're familiar with a band called Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Mm,
Um,
n- no, but that's okay.
so, 28 days later,
Okay.
um, when Cillian Murphy is walking through London and that song plays and the song like builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up until like the zombies start chasing him.
Yeah, that's the song.
That's Godspeed You Black Emperor. It's called
Okay.
East Hastings.
Nice.
I
Cool.
did a short movie about, and it was like a documentary how it's like it's a dilapidated city, how it's like the brain drain and a
Hmm.
population drain, and there's nothing keeping young people here. And yeah, Godspeed You Black Emperor, they let me use their music and everything, so it's pretty cool.
Hey, that is pretty neat. That's very neat.
Mm.
So you got into it that way. I like how in the beginning it starts off with your father. That your father showed you horror movies at such an early, or not even horror movies, but with T2, right? It was T2.
Yeah, it's like sci-fi, yeah, like sci-fi
Yeah.
action.
Well, there's some people who consider, because I'll usually ask, what's your favorite horror movie, all that stuff. Some people actually consider like Terminator kind of like that weird mix of action but also horror because I guess the way it is, I can kind of see that, but I've
I'd say that about the first one, definitely.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
About the first one, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's cool. I like that. For me, like my connection with horror was my mom showing me Halloween, like the original, and it was like, oh, okay, cool. Oh man, I don't think I'm supposed to watch this, Mom. It's like one of those things. So how about that? Like, what was your first taste of horror though?
Oof. My first taste of horror was Event Horizon, which
Ooh,
is actually one of my top 10 movies. Event Horizon, I was 10 when it came out. And I watched it unbeknownst to my parents. I mean, like Event Horizon. I mean, because there are horror movies that are like, it's an R horror movie, but Event Horizon is a hard R.
it is, man.
And
Especially
I
that
just,
that one scene that's like very short. The fucking space. What is it? An orgy? As fucking cannibalistic
yeah.
orgy thing?
So there is. which is never going to see the light of day because like all the original copies and prints and are lost. But Paul W.S. Anderson has been forever trying to make like an uncut, I mean the director's cut. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Product that was like originally intended because the film initially received an NC-17 rating because of that scene.
Right.
And it was like, and it was supposed to be like this, like huge orgy, which like you get a glimpse of it. There's like a shadow of a man and a woman having sex. Like when the whole vision starts to play, like when they like inspect the deck there. Yeah. But yeah, that was a really, really like heavy movie that had a real impact on me. Horror movies, so
That's cool. And remind me, how old
yeah,
were you when you first saw it?
10.
10. 10.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, man. If Event Horizon was my first movie at 10, first horror movie at 10, man, I think I'd be scarred for life too. I think I'd have a black metal band. I'm just messing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that is a pretty heavy duty movie. That is a trippy one. I'm trying to remember how it ended because it was like Sam's character. It was like he kind of. It's like he knew what he was doing, almost as if like he was already there before or something. Like
So yeah, so the whole thing was he was like, because I mean he created the ship. Well, he
yeah,
created the black hole, like the orb that helps them travel, and like he always like felt that connection with it. And he said at one point, it's like the ship's never going to let him leave. The ship is never going to let anybody leave. And then like they managed to kill him in the end. And I'm sorry if there's spoilers, but the movie is
no, it's fine. Yeah, we're
almost
talking
30
about an
years
old
old.
movie. Like I think
Everybody chill.
yeah.
So and then like I forgot the one of the astronaut girls, Lawrence Fishburne saves her in the end,
Mm-mm.
and like they're adrift in space, and then like they get found, and at first when they're found she has like another vision that like Sam Neill again is like, but it's actual
Yeah,
like rescue team them.
yeah,
So
that's right.
that's how the film ends.
That's right.
Which still, which still like plants the doubt is like, oh, are they actually okay? Or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like when movies end like that because it's like, well, do we know it's okay? Probably not. If they wanted to make a sequel, they had opportunity to. They didn't, and
yeah,
probably for the better.
yeah,
You know, um,
yeah.
was that one of those movies where when it first came out, it wasn't really received well, but it was received later on, received better.
Right.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it became a cult classic because like
Yeah.
it was. I mean, it was panned by critics,
Mm.
and like it didn't have well. Paul W.S. Anderson, he wanted to do, his version, and it was like the version that we know as today was like heavily edited, like it's heavily cut.
Mm.
So
Man, have you done a sci-fi? Have you done a sci-fi horror? It's kind of hard to do with micro budget, low budget.
um I guess you can say I did my last horror movie that I made called Gravis Terrae. It's about a possessive killer root. And I
Ooh.
know it sounds lame, but it's actually really cool. So a couple of years ago we were putting a fence in our house,
Okay.
and my father-in-law brought a post hole digger, and we were like digging a bunch of shit, and we dug up like this root. It was about like that big, and it like had all of like these vine like things. It like as if it was like a squid or something,
Okay.
but there were like a dozen or so like vines coming out of this thing, and it was like every which way. So it literally looked like it had actually I have a replica prop that was created by my good friend Greg for the movie.
Oh wow. All right. Yeah. Let's see what we're talking about there.
Yeah. So we dug it up and I'm like, I'm gonna save it, and because this looks cool, it looks grotesque, I can definitely use this at a later time or something. Lo and behold, like a couple of months later, like I started writing a movie. So the film is about this Root, this newly divorced young woman. She's on a hike and whatever. She stumbles on this like really creepy looking thing. She decides to take it home. Natural story. She decides to take it home. Like she starts caring for it.
Yeah.
She gets cut on it. Like
Hmm.
while like she's like washing it and whatever. Like she gets cut. So like her hand like starts like being like all like black and blue, and there's like her
Ooh.
veins are popping out and stuff, and she starts like getting like all of like these hallucinations and visions and stuff, and like she like in her dreams like she starts finding herself like in these like woods, like with this open skull that like talks to her, and like it's a really trippy movie. So I guess that's kind of like the closest to like sci-fi as I would put it, but it's more like body horror,
Yeah.
but like
That's what I'm
not
hearing
like
there.
traditional
It's like
sci-fi. Yeah.
there is more body horror, some fantasy. I guess more fantasy. I guess with the root thing, but
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
so. There's a spirit in the root, and it possesses her when she gets cut off on it. Is what it sounds like.
So no, so she doesn't start to get like, hallucinations. Like she's not possessed per se until she actually gets cut.
Yeah, till
She
she
was
gets cut.
cleaning the room and like as like she was like handling and like she gets cut on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how like she starts to experience all of like these like awful nightmares. Well,
Hmm.
nightmares or hallucinations, like we don't know. So it's yeah, it's like it's pretty trippy. Um Not sure if this is gonna mean as much to you as but so this movie has a very, very, very strong connection to black metal community.
Okay.
One, because the soundtrack to the soundtrack to the movie and the title song at the end of the film was created by Sakis Tolis, who is the founder, guitarist, vocalist, and main composer of a Greek black metal band called Rotting Christ.
Rotten
Um,
Christ.
like rotting,
Oh, okay,
Rotting Christ.
like writing on like a
Yeah.
writing on cowboy style on Christ.
No,
Like
no, no, like rotting, as in like something's rotting,
oh,
like the
rotting.
meat's
Yeah, yeah. Like
rotten.
someone's dead
Rotting.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
Rotting Christ.
Okay, it's
Uh,
still pretty cool.
um,
Pretty very
and
very black metal.
it,
Very black metal. There.
she did. So I met him. So I can like we've had many conversations. We've been so can I can call him my friend. He's a great inspiration. Um, and he's a really cool guy who supports like small artists, independent artists. Um, and I mean he himself is a pioneer of the type of music that came out of like that part of Europe.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And the voice of the Root in the movie is performed by a black, also another very prominent name in black metal community, Andreas, aka Hellermader. He's from Sweden, and he's a vocalist of a band called Dark Funeral, who I'm seeing in 2 weeks, and of a Swedish black metal band called Gra, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. He did the Root voice, and Sakis did the soundtrack to the movie, and it's kind of like meshed everything for me, and I'm really proud of it because the whole film itself is so strongly rooted in this community that kind of like made it all that much more better for me. So
Man, that does sound really cool. I like how with your work you're able to. It sounds like you have been able to reach out and get a lot of help and a lot of support from other creative figures, especially creative figures in the black metal scene. And how is I guess the indie horror scene? Is it supportive? Is it are there issues as far as like people like turn each other down for I don't know for whatever reasons? I mean, yeah, let's talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit.
No, yeah. So definitely, there I've one of the greatest things that, has come out of my artistic endeavors has been meeting people from all corners of the planet. Whether it be in any capacity, whether it be artwork or music or, like a clip shot, like wherever they live or whatever. But like I'm telling you, just like any arts, and because it's low budget, because everybody's like, like there, everybody's, kind of like starting out, everybody's
Hmm.
like trying to make a name for themselves. I've met some amazing people like in my journey as a filmmaker. I have met some god awful people, just the
Yeah.
same. I mean, definitely there are people, and like it's very clicky. Yeah, like it's super clicky. It's like don't work with that person, don't work with that person.
Ooh.
That person said that, that person said this, and I'm like, yo, can we all just chill out and like just do our own thing?
Yeah.
But like it's like everything, like life gets into it, personal opinions, politics, divisions, and all that type of stuff. I mean, like it's life,
It's
but
like all I'm trying to do
like
here is make movies, man. Like,
but it
oh
gets clicky. It gets super clicky, and that's what's sad because
man.
like some like if anybody gets like any sort of like progress or leeway like in anything, I think ego gets to people.
Hmm.
I think ego is a big problem in the game. I mean, like not just movies, like in anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Of
any
course.
like we're all very kind of screwed up. I mean, like to be an artist, I guess like you have to like it comes with the like with the territory. Everybody like has
A
their own
little.
with the territory.
Okay. Okay. And what about the distribution aspect when it comes to the? I mean, so we talked about the creating and working on these films. I'm sure there's all sorts of aspects that we haven't even gone to yet. But what about the distribution part? Because that seems like it could be a challenge. I'm not sure what's available there. I'm not sure if Amazon is helpful or all that. So, yeah.
So there's a lot of, and that's like the aspect that I hate the most, is like the business part of it. I mean, like you do want your film to be seen, like you do want, you know, your film to be out there, and Amazon was fantastic for a long while, and then they started culling any indie movies. I mean, I just like in the last couple of years, they've purged hundreds and hundreds of indie movies like from the platform, and now it's even
Do
harder
they say
to get them
why?
on
Is
there.
it like are they saying like quality or
Um,
something?
People have just woken up to a generic Amazon email. I have about 5 films left on there. People have just woken up to a generic Amazon email saying we listen to our customers. This is the direction we're going in. Like our number one priority is quality product for customers, and they kind of like just leave it at that. There's like no other explanation. There's nothing
Oh, okay.
like your film can be like streaming or renting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. It's like you'll get cut. It doesn't matter. But honestly, like there are a lot of like other smaller platforms like Tubi, which Tubi doesn't take unsolicited anymore. So it has to be like there's a whole process to get the film on Tubi. But what I've been using, I mean, I've had like small distro companies.
Hmm?
Probably the best one I had my films picked up by was the SRS Cinema by
Okay.
Ron Bonk. They do like limited runs. They're out of Syracuse, New York, which is just a couple of hours away from where I live. Really cool, a small distro, very well respected, renowned. Um, Most of the time, like I will print my own stuff. I have a very, very talented and great friend who lives in Italy, Jeffrey, who does all of my artwork
Okay.
for my films and for my albums as well.
Hey,
So
that's
it's
pretty
kind
nice.
of
So he
like,
does it all, like as far as art goes. That's nice to have that connection.
yep,
Nice to have
he
that help.
does like my whole wrap, like the CD, the wrap, the booklet and all that type of stuff. It's really cool. Um, so I'll put them on Vimeo for streaming, um, because it's very easily accessible and it's very cheap.
Mhm.
And then I'll do like orders of DVDs and stuff. So
Okay, that's cool. That's
uh,
cool.
I've been doing it on my own for a past few years because I just didn't want to do the hassle anymore of like waiting because I've had a few movies like with like the limited distro, and it's like trying to figure out the money split, trying to figure out like how many copies, trying to figure out when it's going to be printed. I'm like,
Mm,
it's just easy to do everything yourself
right.
because like it still comes out the same way. So
Mm, mm. Interesting. Hmm. So I think on that, like they must equality. Quality is a weird thing, especially when we're talking about like low budget microfilms. I mean, I guess they're gonna have that sort of look to them. And I looked at some of your trailers. They do look better. The ones that are supposed to be like more like campy for the sake of being campy obviously have that look, and it's intended and it's supposed to be funny, and that's fine. Like hell, they have like I guess I don't is have you ever seen the movie Thanksgiving? Was that an indie film or was that like, what was that? You know that
that's yep, that's that was very low budget,
yeah
and that movie's fantastic.
right
That movie's great.
it shit
But that, I mean, like you still
sorry, what was that horror movie back in the day, long time ago, with the snowman, with the killer fucking snowman? Shit, what was it
Jack
called?
Frost.
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
That was a hilarious movie. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, like
That, yeah.
so
Also, so I think I was 11 when I saw that.
you get
That was
very
like,
cool, crazy, maybe even bizarro like ideas and themes with like these movies because like they don't have to cross or be filtered through so many different opinions and producers and stuff. It could just be here it is, it's done. You know, we have the
yep.
creative team that put it out. And if people like it. I mean, I would say for Amazon, like just like I guess make it a different section, like I guess
Correct. I agree.
indie
I
or
agree.
whatever. But
There's a huge base. I mean, there's a huge base of people who like to, just unwind and, sit on the couch with a beer, get drunk, and like
yeah,
watch a movie that was done for like $500.
yeah,
The
I kind of
so
like that.
like, speaking of the looks, I mean, like when you look at like some of my other trailers, like they look like perfectly normal, but then like when you look at the casting couch, it has a VHS filter
Yeah, it
because
does.
like we did that because we like oh, and I don't have it here, but I should have gotten prepared more. But so the Blu-ray case, the Blu-ray and the DVD case for Casting Couch Slaughter looks like a VHS. It's like
That's
all
cool.
torn. It has like the 2.99 sticker.
Hold on,
It
I have
has a
to get
sticker
some
that says adults
box for mine real
only.
fast.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry,
yeah.
we're good.
So yeah, so I mean, like, and I like people like that. I like the nostalgia. And I cannot tell you how many orders I had to fulfill immediately when the movie came out just because of the look
Hmm.
of the movie. Just because of the look of the movie and because there is a pair of boobs right in the trailer. They were like, yep, nope, I'm sold.
Yeah,
VHS
see,
filter and boobs.
that
We'll
speaks
place
to
the order
me.
right now.
I'm a very simple
Yeah,
guy. Okay, like
right?
beer, boobs, and blood. Those are my three Bs. Okay, those are my three Bs. Okay, I know you mentioned. I think in the email, what was your least favorite horror movie? And you said Fear.com. I have to.
Yep.
Man, I was watching that today to refresh myself about that.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, it does have boobs. It has plenty of boobs. Boobs it has plenty of.
It does.
But man, I couldn't finish that movie. I stopped. Like, I couldn't. I could not get through that movie. Fear.com is like the worst thing I've seen.
Almost. Yep.
And it's
I rarely ever cannot finish a movie, but that movie was the exception.
It was like right from the beginning, everything sounded wrong and off about the movie. Like the sound design was shit.
And I think my biggest thing about it was it was a really cool concept. It was like, they like live stream or I like the concept was, like you go onto this website and like it like just like bad shit happens to you or whatever.
Yeah.
Or right, something like that. And I'm like, okay, so it was a really
hard
cool
drive
concept.
though. That's the part I was like, okay.
Right.
Like a live stream's not gonna blow up your hard drive, man. Okay.
But like it had Steve Dorff in it, and like at the time it was like, oh yeah, like they're promoting this movie. I'm like, okay, let's check it out. Like let's see what's going on. And I think I went into the movie and I had a different disposition of what the movie's going to be and then what it was. And I think like it was so just anticlimactic. It was just so drawn out when it shouldn't have been. And it was just like parts of it were just so lame. Like it was like, it can be epic. It can be still epic and it can still be low budget, but this was Hollywood and it was supposed to be epic and it was not epic. And it was just kind of like a letdown. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is definitely not what I would.
You said that it was Hollywood because for a while when I was watching this, like, what is this, a foreign film or something? Because why are the kill scenes so like, the kill scenes looked like they were shot away like to not show anything because they couldn't.
Correct. And
to
that
get
was
around
another
censorship.
thing.
Like
I was like, show something.
Yeah, like there was a scene where I guess some guy was trying to chloroform this chick, and all of a sudden Rammstein plays. I'm like, well, I recognize that song. I like that song, but what the hell? What am I looking at here? Like, you could show a chick being chloroformed. Okay, I mean, you could show that. I mean, whatever. It's so. I was saying the sound design because in the beginning I thought something was wrong with like because I was watching it. I was watching on my computer. I thought something was wrong with my sound setup because the sound sounded like it was doubled and layered, but it was like that on purpose. I was like, that sounds like crap. And
right.
And then the voice of the actors, they sound like they all sound like they have a voice for radio. Okay, like they all sound like they're voice actors and not actors, but I know they're actors. I recognize a couple of them from other small projects. Especially the first guy you see, he was in Blade, right? He played the German.
Yeah, he's the main character. Steven Dorff.
Yeah,
he's the guy who played the main vampire in Blade.
Yeah,
and that was the movie like right after Blade. I mean, for him.
Wow, man. Whew. You know what they needed? They needed more drugs. Probably less than that. Let me ask you this. So, you are familiar with your horror movie monsters? We could go all over this. We could do the basics. We could do Freddy. We could do Jason Voorhees, Chucky. What I plan on doing is I'm going to spit out a name, and what sort of drugs do you think they would? What drug do you think they would do, and why? Like, for example, let's say Jason Voorhees. What would Jason Voorhees' drug of choice be?
Crystal meth.
Crystal meth? Well, because of Camp Crystal Lake are like
so two things. Crystal Lake, it's just kind of like it goes with the territory. Also it's just because he looks like, well, he comes from a family that looks like that would do crystal meth.
Hey, no, his mom was a good mom. I know his mom was killing all those camp counselors in the first one, but she was doing that because, they let her baby boy Jason die.
Correct, right. But it's just like the way he grows up and the way he is, it just looks like the person that would do crystal meth. It's just like because like when I got your email, I was trying to pair like one, a couple, and I was like, yeah, no, definitely that type of drug, for Jason.
See, I was gonna
That's why
say,
I shot it like right over. Go ahead.
I like your answer there. I was gonna say heroin out of all things,
Okay.
because the reason I was gonna say that was because like he's going through the pain. He has a lot of pain.
Okay.
He's a tortured soul, which is the reason why he's killing in the first place. Okay. And like, and that's all his rage. And he needs something to chill him out. He needs something to mellow him out, and that's where the heroin comes in.
Okay.
It's probably not that good of a sell because crystal meth. Ooh. What about Chucky? What would Chucky's?
Because you're a superhero with crystal meth, though. I mean, like you don't even know your own strength.
Oh, true. And you know what? Jason Voorhees is pretty fucking strong. Apparently, he can flip over a freaking. He can flip over a.
And you can run, but he walks faster. So
yeah.
Chucky. God, I mean, like Adderall. Like, can Adderall be Can Adderall be considered like an actual drug? Because that's Chucky.
I mean, Chucky would. Here's the thing: Chucky was a criminal before he put his soul into that doll. Right. So I'm pretty sure he was taking bumps. He was probably smoking weed. He's probably doing whatever he could.
Yeah, but that would make him mellow. I mean, like because remember, like in the movie, he was like all.
Oh, I'll say
like
before.
Jittery,
I'll say before he put his soul into the body. Yeah, as the Chucky doll, he's definitely using some sort of a stimulant. He's doing something hard. He's doing like Adderall. I could see that. Adderall would be good. That would explain his constant going. What about let's see. Let's put a classic out there. What about Dracula? Like what sort of Dracula's at a party? At a classic Monster Mash party. You got Dracula, you got Frankenstein's monster, and you got the Wolfman. What are they doing?
With that, I'm gonna say with that wardrobe, like with that culture and like that class and stuff, I'm going to say Dracula brings out a plate of cocaine, and it just seems like for somebody as sophisticated as Dracula, that would be his choice.
Yeah.
And then the Wolfman takes it, and shit goes wrong with the Wolfman.
Yeah, the Wolfman can't handle it. The Wolfman goes too far.
Handle it. Yeah, he doesn't handle it. So yeah, but that would be of that kind of society. That would be the drug.
And as far as Frankenstein's monster go, he couldn't do heroin because fire freaks him out, and he would freak the fuck out. So it would have for him. Probably he couldn't even light a joint because it'd freak him out. So
for him, it would definitely be like pills or like something that's like like that has to be like ingested, like
maybe just like a beer guy. I know alcohol, people don't really consider that like a drug, but like
he does look alcoholic.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic for sure. Frankenstein's monster is an alcoholic. Okay, 100%. That guy definitely drinks. If not, then what is he doing?
Yep.
Let's see, just a couple more here. This is kind of fun. This one would be tough, especially if you're very familiar with the series. What about Jigsaw? Like, what is he doing?
See, I love Saw movies, but I know there's a thing there, but I do not know what he would do because he's anti all of that. He's like because he killed
Yeah,
oxymoron there.
the
Like
pit, the
he
pit of
puts
needles.
people into situations. Pit of needles, right? So like, so that was a heroin thing because
Hmm.
she was a junkie, and he saved her from that.
Right.
Um, so like that would kind of like go against his whole thing. If anything, I guess I would just do like just weed for him because he was a cancer patient anyway.
Ah,
So like it would be
yeah,
like
weed.
to, yeah, to kind of like just like dull the pain.
Mm,
Because I can't remember like what kind of I mean, I don't even think they say what kind of cancer. Like you just show him trying to kill himself, and
yeah.
that was like the thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think you're right there
because
because he could have
I don't think
used
he would even drink.
he could have used anything hard because he
Yeah,
would be a hypocrite and he'd have to put himself in one of those
yeah,
contraptions, and he wouldn't
yeah,
use OxyContin because like here's the thing about Jigsaw, he has to be up quite a bit, doing things because he's setting up those traps. He's going out and getting people or
right.
sending out a henchman to go get people. So he's constantly going. He can't just be slung out on heroin or
Yep.
dozing off into his own Taco Bell on OxyContin. Okay, he's smoking some.
Well, he dozed off the whole first movie.
Mhm. Yeah, you know what?
Like when he was like sprawled out in the thing.
Hey, you know what was happened there? He was baked. He was too baked.
Yeah, true,
He got level 10
true.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a troll.
That's
He's
good.
a fucking troll. He's like,
I
he
know.
puts his people in this fucking elaborate games. You know what? I couldn't even figure out. The previous guest, who's also a music guy, I couldn't remember why the lady, the heroin junkie, why she had to do that when when her crime was really that she is an addict. Was that her crime?
Yes. So that's like, well, I don't know if that's why. I mean, that's why the pit of needles was there, but coincidentally, the guy throws her, which I mean, there was no way that he would have known that was her thing.
Hmm.
I mean, like we learned that later on. But yeah, that was like that was very interesting how like she's the one that ends up in the pit of needles.
Yeah.
But like, we don't find out until like later on that was her crime. Well, I mean, like which kind of fits in retrospect, but it's like okay,
Out of all the
like
crimes,
could there
I
be?
kind of I want to rewatch it because I wonder if she did something drastic for the money to pay for heroin. Like did she like did she s- did she have a child and
She
sold it,
OD'd.
or like what were you talking about? Like what?
She OD'd. So the
Oh,
problem was his thing was like she was taking her own life. So his whole thing is like like you are taking your life, you're taking somebody else's life. So like that was like the whole thing, him putting them into situation where they have to learn the value of life to
oh, well, look at that.
yeah,
He's just trying to teach them the value of life. Well, motherfucker,
through
he
violence.
could have he could have with her. It's like he could have done it in a different way. Jesus, jeez,
Yeah,
is
but
wow.
kidnapping people and putting them in these situations apparently is more effective.
Yeah, it's like some of those traps. Like, why are they in there? I don't want him to be the
Yep.
fucking judge. Jeez. Fuck. I was about to
Fight for your
say
life.
if you were gonna say, you know what, he probably doesn't do any drugs, but like that's his problem. He seems like a black
Yep.
coffee sort of guy. Black coffee and just pissed off at everything. Like him. That's like I don't want that guy to be a judge.
It's just like the little things piss him off.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
Things
Shit.
that don't even affect him.
Right? Fuck. All right. Well, what is your? You mentioned your favorite horror movie already, kind of like Event Horizon. That was one of your favorites.
Yep.
Do you have
Yep.
another?
Man, I made a whole list on Facebook the other day. Like I did that like one of those like stupid things that like people post like the lists. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's top 10 movies to get to know me by. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. So I did it. And I think the number one I put was Day of the Dead, 1985, George Romero.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
That that not only is that one of my favorite, it definitely um is my favorite zombie movie. Um, it's so, because like you have like, Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
and it's like, they all have like this whole grand scheme, the plan. They're gonna go to the mall, and they're gonna like, like just weather the storm there. And it's like a whole comment on like capitalism and commercialism, and like being, you know uh the victim of like, yeah, like they go into this mall, they have everything they can possibly ever wish for, and like they still cannot stand to be there, and they zombies come in, like, and they die. But
It had some
yeah,
hardcore. It had some hardcore effects in there too. Some really good
oh,
stuff.
absolutely.
Tom Savini.
The Day of the Dead like brought it up like 10 notches. Like if Dawn of the Dead, like the original Dawn of the Dead was in 1978, I think.
Mm,
Day of the Dead was like here, like when, because like the whole scene with the zombies like come down on their lift
yeah.
and like get the captain, and they like literally tear him apart, and there's
Ew.
like 30 or 40 zombies, and they're like, oh yeah, that had to be like one of the goriest scenes like at the time, like when that was made. But like the whole movie was so dark and so gritty, and everybody literally in that movie like hated each other. Like the the military, like in the movie there was like a whole like like martial law,
Yeah.
they ruled with the iron fist. So there was like a
Mm,
clash between a scientist and a military, and they were like trying to find a cure for this whole thing, when like early in the movie they say, oh, the zombies outnumber people like 400,000 to 1. And then like later in the movie, like like you see them like in this like military installation bunker and stuff, and they're like, what are we doing here? And there's like literally like like no end in sight,
yeah.
and they're like just kind of like digging their own grave, if that makes sense.
Mm,
That was like that movie. I bought it on, it was like anniversary edition when it came back. Like it was like oh 05, I think. Yeah, like it had to be like a 30th anniversary
mm.
type deal. Like it came like a little comic book, and it came with a retrospect review of the movie. Um, like it was a written review that came like inside of a booklet. And it was a review that came out in 1985, like when nobody appreciated the movie. And then like there was a review from it like in 2005, like when it came out, and it was like, we didn't appreciate this movie when it first came out, and this is why, and this is why it's a great movie. And I
It's
don't
probably
like when
because they
people
thought it
do
was
that
too
because,
intense. Sorry, not to cut you off.
right. No, I mean, you're completely correct. But like, when people are like, um, like when they say, "Oh, this is why you should like this movie," like I don't like that, because like all art is subjective.
Mhm.
But this guy, like, like in bullet points, this is why we didn't appreciate this movie, and this is why we should appreciate it. And I'm like, no, like that makes, that makes a lot of sense. But I always loved the movie, so
You know,
yeah, that's definitely
on that topic, some of the bad reviews for various things, books, movies, whatever, actually helped me make the decision to go watch that movie or
yeah,
get that book.
yeah.
Because like if someone
You
tells
want to see it
me,
for yourself,
yeah, if someone tells me they don't like this book because it's too intense, it's like, oh, okay, well let me go check it out. Or if they don't like this
yeah,
movie because
yeah.
it's too hardcore, whatever, this scene and whatever, it should be banned. And when they say, oh, it should be banned, I'll be like, oh, well, okay.
Oh, dude,
Now I really want to go see it. Now I really want to go see it. Um,
people dating stuff, I just fucking
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
It's like,
So, man, yeah, Day of the Dead's really good. You know, another zombie movie I like a lot, and it's not one of the Romero ones, but Return of the Living Dead.
oh yeah, that's
That one's
like,
really fun. That one's a really fun one.
totally.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, the strip, what I guess the stripper scene, whatever. When the chick gets on the tombstone and as
Oh yeah,
dancing
on a
around,
tombstone. Yeah.
that is quite great.
Yep, remember that.
very,
Yep.
very great. That's all I have to say. Mm. But yeah, um, I know we didn't have much time to talk about your music. I will say I did check it out. I'll say for black metal, it does seem pretty hardcore. Where can people go find your music?
So you can actually find my music everywhere where one would stream, like Pandora, well, Spotify, the biggest one. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. A couple of my my recent album, which is called Nuclear Sermon. They have been just uploaded on a couple of black metal channels on YouTube that like specialize in black metal catalog.
Okay.
So I was very proud and excited to have my albums among hundreds and hundreds of other black metal albums on there.
That's cool.
But yeah, Spotify, iTunes. I didn't know. Okay, so you have to like understand here. I am not a tech app phone computer guy. I am like that's my wife. So anything if Word on computer gets kind of like out of place, I like yell for my wife because I like that generation like skipped my like level of savviness. But
Okay.
so I never knew what Deezer was. I guess Deezer is a another app for music streaming, which apparently is very popular. So my stuff is on Deezer as well, which I found out. But you can find all of my like music on my Bandcamp. Bandcamp is an awesome platform for musicians, bands, artists where if your album is $10, Bandcamp is only going to take like a few cents
Okay.
from your it like most of the like profits, everything goes to the artist. Like it's there, like you support the artist directly. Spotify, I know a lot of people have issues with Spotify these days because of like certain things that like happen with COVID, and like some people that might have said few things like about COVID and stuff, and Spotify like decided to keep them or whatever. The whole shit that happened a couple of years ago. But Spotify is great for artists like having their things on there.
Mhm.
Spotify is like Amazon, but they're not going to cut your music from there because somebody doesn't like your music like
Right.
Amazon does.
Right.
It's really easy to have your music on Spotify, and it's readily available for like millions and millions of people.
Okay. That's cool.
So that's why in my mind, Spotify is fantastic for artists like who just like want to like get the stuff on.
It's pretty cool. Well,
Yeah.
Emir Skalonja, right? Skalonja. I like that.
Cologne
Skalonja. That's a cologne, man. That is a cologne right there.
Yeah.
I want to see that in the future.
I mean, I'm gonna have to give you something for it now if I come up with it because it was your idea.
Yeah. I don't need anything. I'm good. You keep it all for yourself. But it was great having you, man. For those who catch us later, let me know in the comment section what you liked and all that stuff. And with that said, you guys take it easy. Take it easy.